that was sort of how the show opens, and then like sort of like recurring issue is that at this point every second or third game was a Microsoft product, which is problematic for obvious reasons, in particular because they're currently being targeted by BDS and is dealing with a lot of pushback from their own employees this week that is beginning to get traction as people have been reacting to the reporting. We discussed a couple weeks ago about how close, in actuality, the collaboration has been between the IDF and Microsoft's services that they're supplying them with, and so like just this week you are having now protests at Microsoft headquarters over this, and Microsoft did react to some of this in this past week, saying that they're going to do another internal investigation headed up by a law firm to investigate the latest claims. Now, their last internal investigation also, they were like, don't worry about it. It's fine. We looked at it. It's cool. And that was kind of debunked by reporting. And so now Microsoft's official stance is they're troubled by the reporting we talked about in the last couple weeks, talking about that close collaboration. And they want to get to the bottom of it, because some of what was discussed there, well, that would be against terms of service. But they can't do anything until this external review is completed, that they're going to pay this law firm to do.
Well, and who knows? I mean, it feels like that is just running out the clock, right? Like desperately hoping something akin to a ceasefire or some sort of pause in the conflict allows them to profit right up until the last possible second, at which then they can go, well, now it's not going on anymore, and we can move on, and that report will be published somewhere as a PDF that also gives them plausible deniability on actually, like, well, we just provide the tools. We don't actually spy on the Palestinian citizens in order to give the IDF like complete sourced control over like the telecoms infrastructure of that area.
So like it does feel like that they are obviously like trying to run out the clock. They're trying to run the same play they ran the first time these allegations came up, which were concerning. Looking into it, this time it's going to be
Control F. Like we're looking, we're looking through the database. We've asked Copilot to investigate.
This time it's not Microsoft doing it. It's this law firm they're paying to conduct the review. I think it is darkly funny that we talk so often about like these companies' desperate need for ongoing recurring revenue from their products, that Microsoft apparently couldn't sell or doesn't offer the product to the IDF, where they could have just done a one-time sale and then just been like, what happened to this after we sold it to them? We can't tell you. It's no. They got to be. They need that ongoing services money. They need that ongoing contract. So it's not like they could send. They couldn't give a fork of the Panopticon to Israel. They need to make sure that there's ongoing subs revenue from the targeting Panopticon. But that is, again, the way these companies keep ending up in these jackpots is, they can't just do a one-time, same as with us, like the relationship with us as consumers. They can't do a one-time transaction where like, here's a product or a tool. What happens to it after it's out of our hands is not on us. They never want to take their hands off of it, and they want to profit from like helping people get the most out of that tool. But that also means that they're like kind of literally holding hands with like IDF targeted killing programs. And they kind of don't have an exit for that. They've tightly wedded themselves to these things. And I'm sure, again, I think one reason Microsoft's trying to be so resistant to this is there are so many governments and so many things that are going to be deeply unpalatable to a huge swath of society, to their own employees, that if they give ground on this one, well, then what's the moral argument for supplying ICE with software to like track, like locate and detain undocumented immigrants? Of course, there's no moral argument. It's heinous, but there's good money in heinous shit. And, you know, I think Microsoft's position would be like, well, I mean, you know, that's down to the people. It's down to the government to do that. Like, it's not on us as the company. We, you know, if people have an object to a thing, they can go vote. But, you know, the problem is, like, the entire thing kind of relies on their hardware and also, like, a lot of stuff on the back end that is sort of powered by a skilled workforce that does have opinions about things.
Well, and even in, you know, watching the Gamescom opening night, which becomes so apparent as we were, you know, watching it ourselves, is, you know, Microsoft has gotten away from even positioning itself publicly as like, hey, like this is a new product from, you know, this is a new game from Microsoft or Xbox. Like they've moved away from like really splashing their logo and like having you like identify that like this is coming from Microsoft, this is coming from Xbox. And I don't think this is distinctly tied to like, well, like this gives us like the consumer plausible deniability. They didn't know, but it allows like what becomes so apparent over the course of a show like this that is divided between like the haves and have-nots financially, right? Like you have to pay to be in Keighley's showcases, and you pay more to be in the showcase that is Gamescom opening night. You pay less to be in the Kyle Bosman, you know, opening like pre-show event. And so, you know, what we found was like after the show finished and we kind of shuttled, you know, through a bunch of the trailers that we hadn't seen during that opening segment, there was a lot of cool shit in there that would have made that main show a lot more interesting and full of variety. But part of what ends up happening in these main showcases, and part of what makes this creeping uncomfortability happen, is that, well, the only companies in town that can afford to pay the rates are the juggernauts along the scale of a Microsoft, who can just vacuum up all of these game companies and just shove them into a Game Pass. But then as you go through watching that, the amount of times you sort of, and I think it even happened to us, where it's like, I'm aware of, like, in my mind, I can see the red sprawling map of all the studios that Microsoft owns, but it's easy to lull yourself or just forget casually, like, oh, right, I'm watching a World of Warcraft, like, cinematic. Like, okay, they didn't show an Xbox logo. They didn't show a Microsoft logo. They show a Blizzard logo. But then I got to remember that Activision Blizzard, like, the sprawling nature of where they are connected and publishing games that you are, you know, playing, like, it's very easy to be unaware of how sprawling that's become. But it's also very, that show itself encapsulates just how unavoidable and, like, catastrophic, like, their monopolization of so many tentpole parts of the games industry has become, that it's just sort of spooky. Like, it's just the amount of times that would happen over and over. It's like, oh, right, this is another Microsoft product. Was a little odd in this showcase in particular.
Yeah, and it's also a shame because it's like so many good studios are in that basket. And it seems like there is a bit of Microsoft also trying to wrestling with like internal branding stuff. Like it's funny the degree to which, all right, we want to preserve Bethesda as a brand. Bethesda is going to be publishing the new Indiana Jones, DLC, which looks pretty like a pretty extensive DLC, like a new adventure, sort of for
it seems like a whole new map, right? Like, in the maps in that base game, where, I mean,
big, you
know, that opening in Rome, you can spend
a lot of time,
15 hours, like, in that opening section alone, if you're doing everything. So it's sprawling.
Yeah, and then, you know, you've got, so you have that aspect of it, but then it's also funny that, like, also trying to, I think the Fallout TV show being so clearly a New Vegas and Fallout 2 TV show, and they're like, and from the world of Bethesda's Fallout, and this wildly popular show that everyone's like, this is fucking awesome, this understands Fallout so perfectly. this show is like Fallout 3. Never heard of it. Fallout 4? Is DC even still? Who gives a shit? Does Boston? No, we don't care. We care about New Vegas. We care about Los Angeles. That is also, like, I think kind of funny in a weird way. Like, so Microsoft has got this big bloated, like, what's our identity even at this point? We're kind of this, like, we're a soulless acquisitions machine that's kind of like devastated a bunch of beloved studios, and we're kind of struggling to put anything cool out, and a lot of our best franchises are lying fallow. And that's almost feels like kind of history repeated with Bethesda, where they turned Bethesda into like a little mini Microsoft of games, where it's like, what's our identity? Boy, people seem to like those other Fallout games. So yeah, like, you know, Bethesda. You've always loved Bethesda's Fallout New Vegas. That's what we're here. That's what we're here to do. Starfield. No one has heard of this.
Yeah. And I think to your point earlier, like, I mean, it just shows how how much the landscape of the AAA stuff has changed, where there's just not much to show, but also how much Gamescom opening night became Keighley throwing to other events, like, and make sure to tune in to like Call of Duty Direct to learn more about this game. Silksong, they gave me 15 seconds of gameplay. Look forward to their special presentation 48 hours from now. And there seemed to be a lot of throwing to other transitionary events in a way that I had not noticed, or have not noticed that nearly as often in previous showcases.
Well, and there's things like, there's moments where it's like, this was Bloober Team's opening night live to an extent. Like, there's some studios that are just like working on so much shit that it's like, all right, here they are, you know, again with a different project. You know, they're leaning heavily on that stuff. You know, I was going to be playing a bunch of Chronos for today, and then there was the embargo, and I was like, all right, well, I guess I'll put my efforts elsewhere for this. Though I guess I should, because I'm not going to be around. Like, I don't know how much gaming I'm going to be getting done in the next week.
That's true. Once you start packing stuff up, who's to say?
All hell's breaking loose here. But yeah, the degree to which, like, Silent Hill in a way is like a load-bearing part of opening night live. The fact that, like, updates for live service games is super important. But then they don't, you know, there's not that much to show. It's like, here's a cutscene from Resident Evil that get you fired up.
That was not even a trailer. I mean, it was purely a, not even what you could call a story trailer, right? That's like, hey, here's setting up what's happening in the next big Resident Evil game. It's like, no, we just hit export in Premiere from like one of the cutscenes early in the game. I hope you enjoy. I loved seeing that in Osaka 6 months ago.
Yeah. So it's, you know, it was kind of a goofy show. I don't know if there were too many highlights from the opening night live itself. I'm kind of racking my brain here to think of stuff that, like, leapt off the screen at me.
I mean, a lot of the stuff that we liked happened ahead of time, right? Like, it was like, there's a new Battlestar Galactica strategy game that's coming.
Yeah.
The Lego Batman seemed
Lego
funny.
Batman looked all right. That won us over by the end of the trailer. It's like we're doing open world Batman Arkham Asylum, but in Lego form is
kind
is
of curious about Silent Hill F Forte, whatever. What are they calling it? But that I think that was like the only real thing that.
It looks all right. I'm sort of stuck on the combat emphasis that's going to happen in that game. That I'm not sure.
Onimusha's back.
Well, yeah, Onimusha looks great. That game looks really good. Valor Mortis, I think that was like a real highlight for all of us. Right.
And so was Onimusha, wasn't it?
Was Onimusha pre-show?
No, Onimusha was during the regular show.
Oh,
there was a whole Capcom block, like towards the end.
Well, and like, during the show, I just remembered like Ghost of Yotei was promoted, but it's like, again, how many times can you show like, and here's a horse running across a beautiful Japanese countryside? It's like, yeah, we get the picture.
That was another one. They're doing a state of play or like an in-depth deep dive on that game, like that's been announced like in the next couple of weeks. So that's another handoff.
Well, and then also like so much of the shit is like imminently coming out. Like
the amount of times there was a trailer that's like September 5th, September 14th. I feel like there's a little bit of the Grand Theft Auto 6 effect like happening here where it's like, oh, shit, a bunch of games that were trying to get out ahead of that.
Everyone dodge rolling out of the way.
Yeah, but now can't shuffle their plans into October and November. There was Dawn of War 4, which you talked a little bit about that on the stream, but that's not being made by, is it Relic who have done the previous
always made
games?
the Dawn of War games. This one, so it's kind of funny. I would say Relic's in a weird place. The way they've spun this, I think, is like Relic is now independent. I mean, the actuality is like Sega kind of started to exit the strategy space as much. Like Relic became independent. The people who make Endless Legend Amplitude, I think, became independent. And it's sort of like one of those deals where, yes, they're becoming independent because their publisher is kind of not sure what to do with them and is not super into their next projects.
Right.
So like Company of Heroes 3, I think, underwhelmed their expectations. So it was like, what are we going to do with Relic? And Relic, I think, did some work for Microsoft. They developed Age of Empires 4 some years ago, and they've done some development work on other RTSs. But Dawn of War 4, what's interesting is like it is from the Iron Harvest devs. And Iron Harvest was that game that was basically based on the artwork for Scythe, which is based on Jacob Brzezowski's like concept art for like what if early 1920s post World War I Europe, but with diesel punk mecha like looming across these pastoral scenes. Which again, I'm a little piggy for. I think it's cool. I know some people think that art is kind of derivative and hacky, but fuck it. It turns out everyone has their Thomas Kincaid, and mine is painter of diesel mechs looming over the European plains. But Iron Harvest was basically Company of Heroes 1, but in that universe. It was like just straight up like. So Relic basically nailed it with Dawn of War and Company of Heroes 1. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. We're just going to make that, but with these types of mechs. And then we're going to do a really story-rich campaign. And it rocks. Like that is a very good RTS, especially if you like campaigns. So them getting handed Dawn of War 4 actually makes a ton of sense because they're super dialed into what people like what people really loved about Dawn of War and what they really loved about like that era of Relic RTS. So if you're going to say like, we're going back to basics here and, we're going to make a Dawn of War for true fans, that is, if I can't get Relic to do it, that is the studio I'd probably go with. And maybe I'd go with them over Relic because Relic kind of have tried to reinvent the wheel a couple times to mixed results. Probably also, doesn't help that Relic, I think, is a Vancouver-based studio. And so, the burn rate as it is just enormous. It's a hugely expensive market. And that employees in Vancouver cost a fortune compared to other places. But like, it seems there's a bit of, it seems kind of like well-timed. They just released a remaster of the original Dawn of War. On Steam. It was like one of the top sellers this past week. I played around with it, and it is a very good. Saying it's like that much of a remaster. The thing I would say is like it runs very well. It doesn't feel kludgy. Like the last time I played Dawn of War 1, it felt like that thing was hanging by a thread in the modern Windows environment. Like it was not like you kind of had to bash on it a little bit to get it to. You know how sometimes like these things feel like you're launching mods within the game almost, and it just doesn't hang together super well. This is a super tight presentation. It's got all the Dawn of War 1 stuff, which they released a shit ton of content for that, including what a lot of people really loved, and I started getting into this week, which was Soulstorm, which is basically you're playing an RTS campaign on like a risk map, and you're taking over territories, and it's like a bit of a Total War meets Dawn of War. But the big attraction there is all your favorite friends from Dawn of War in that game. Like everybody. Like we got the Tau, we got the Eldar, we got the Dark Eldar, Sisters of Battle. Just everybody's here, and they're all just beating the shit out of each other. And like, who doesn't love that?
Play as the Tau here?
I think the Tau are in there. I think
you can play as them. I'm wondering.
Oh yeah, dude, they're all playable. Like cool. It's a risk map. And
it's one of those.
Like, which of these factions do you take?
Styles,
and just start kicking ass. So it's kind of cool. It's like not super narrative, but it's basically like we've taken a bunch of skirmish maps, and we've created a bit of persistence in the campaign. You have fun with that. That's that is an all-timer time sync campaign, and then the core Dawn of War campaign. It's just sort of a boilerplate, excellent Dawn of War story. I have a huge soft spot for Gabriel Angelos. So that's been fun to revisit this week, but I think its success on Steam also does indicate that, like, did the appetite for Dawn of War disappear? The appetite for like what the Dawn of War series was kind of gesturing in the direction of, is that kind of the issue that they were trying to figure out, like, how do we? I think you have to kind of, when you're making RTSs, there's this issue. Chris Taylor, years and years ago when I interviewed him, sort of had this remark. He said that RTS fans keep telling us as clearly as they can, we love a big narrative RTS campaign. We love script authored missions. We love cutscenes. We love RTS stories. And RTS developers consistently say, we hear you, and we're making the best competitive RTS we possibly can for hardcore players. And I think Relic kind of got caught up in how do we make the RTS competitive in a multiplayer world that's increasingly dominated by like MOBAs and stuff. Whereas I think the Iron Harvest devs very much leaned into, you're here for a big like alt history epic, right? And the answer was yeah. And I suspect if that's what they're doing for Dawn of War 4, people will be there for that as well. Because, again, people love them. People love them Space Marines, and they love seeing Space Marines land on planets and be like, well, I'll bet this is just a straightforward fight against orcs. No way Chaos is here. No way Chaos is already among us. That'd be absurd.
I'm still waiting. I was not able to. I saw 9 Inch Nails last night, so I wasn't able to follow up on this. I'm trying to figure out whether I'm supposed to be excited for the new Zaum game. Like, is this one okay? Is this one like, who's working on this one? Were these any of the Disco Elysium people? Someone
that I can tell you. Like the original main creatives aren't there anymore. Right,
they're working on something, right? There's like 7 different spin-off projects from Disco Elysium.
From like different people who had touched the original game, but like the people who were like the head writer, the head creative for like the 3 that got like tossed out back in 2022, 2023.
Yeah, but like also like I have a lot of sympathy for people who are working at Zaum, because I do suspect there was a bit of, oh fuck yeah, I'm gonna go to the Disco Elysium studio and like make like work in that tradition, and then all this shit happens. And I don't know
it's
what
all
the
like higher ups bullshit. Yeah,
higher ups bullshit. I also don't know how like excited some of the founders who were forced out, like, how on board were they with the growth of the studio and like dealing with the new voices in the room. I don't know, but I feel some sympathy, because I think there's a bit of what came up around like people working at sort of New Waypoint, which is now New Defunct Waypoint. There's a bit of get fucked, you filthy scabs. And it's like, well, that's not how this transpired. You know, like these people signed on to go work at Zaum, and then like a bunch of high level stuff happened, and well, this is your job. Like,
yeah, so a bunch of those people did touch the original Disco Elysium at the like end of its development / with some of the updates that happened, right? Like they were there at the studio already when all this started. Like that had already happened.
Right. So I don't like. I think it seems like it's probably a messy and unfortunate situation, but also like people working on this stuff, like hopefully they get to do good work and that they make cool stuff. But I'm not going to be like, I'm not going to be looking at this as, oh, this is from the Disco Elysium people necessarily, but also neither am I looking at it as here's Scab Zaum's new piece of shit. Like,
no, here's something in the style of, obviously, with people who have like some experience working around the original stuff. But like the real question is like the like main writing and stuff, like how that ends up, right? Since those are the people who aren't there anymore. The thing that was shown directly after that was also interesting and barely got any time.
A bizarre bit, and kind of because I missed this part because was this all from one publishing label? It was like
no, it is the Gamescom Games for Change segment.
Or the politics segment.
The politics. Hey, we talk about politics and things.
Jeff Keighley loves a post-colonial section in the Game Awards. You know, you can't say the games; they can't come out of his mouth. But he loves a little.
Yeah, the joke I made during the stream was, and then it cuts to Jeff Keighley saying, "And I allowed that."
Yeah. Yep. It occurred to me at some point on the bingo card because this was a bit that happened enough times during the opening night. Is this a Hoyoverse game? Like,
is this anime style game Hoyoverse?
So Hoyoverse game. I don't know what would be like.
What was
Hoyoverse game? Question mark?
Yeah, Hoyo. Is this Hoyo?
Is this Hoyo?
I will say the Games for Change
Hoyo
stuff
actually had a game there, right? Like I think none of them were Hoyo.
No, none of them were Hoyo.
Yeah, MiHoYo wasn't there at all. That's so funny. Every time an anime game came up, they're like, "This is MiHoYo, right?" No chat. No, it's just anime.
Kind of the image I just shared with you right now. It's the Hoyoverse community right now, and it's them wearing clown makeup because that is the Silk Song meme where it's the Hollow Knight character wearing clown makeup. Right. And Silk Song doesn't show up. And Silk Song did show up, and Hoyoverse did not. But Rob, you're right.
That's beautiful.
That little segment had a bunch of really cool, interesting looking games.
I wish it had a little more room to breathe because like the one that caught my eye was like what looked like a courtroom drama game where you're doing like crime scene reconstruction and like organizing like witness testimony and all that. Seems
that's out now.
What's it called?
Yeah, The Darkest Files.
Oh shit!
Process entry files and documents as you try to defend democracy in post-war Germany.
Yeah, March 25th, 2025. So it's been out for a minute. Yeah, and that's the guy who gave like, "Hey, democracy is dying, folks. Like we gotta push back against the fascists." And it wasn't. Sometimes that's just like a line. He kept going. Like, all right, man.
It's very pointed in Germany right now because like everywhere, the far right is sort of resurgent.
Yeah.
And sort of backed by figures from the Nerd Reich. So you had like Elon Musk.
That's such a stupid name.
Talking this past,
oh my god,
like election cycle where he's basically endorsing AfD, alternative for Deutschland, which is just a neo-Nazi party. That people will like try to present as like, well, no, it's just a far right nationalist party. But straight up, like every time you look at like, well, what's AfD's position on this stuff? They're like, I think we should stop apologizing for Nazi war crimes. I think some of these guys were good and they had good ideas. So like Germany is sort of closer to having like an empowered fascist movement than it has had in like 80 years. So like that speech on a stage in Germany, is certainly more pointed. Than just boilerplate, like, this is not, shout out to the family, and then like run a game trailer. it is a little more pointed in this context.
Yeah, actually, it's maybe worth reading in full. I was looking up who this developer was. So this is the CEO of that studio, The Darkest Files. Games are more than entertainment. Like any great art form, they reflect our concerns, our fears, and what preoccupies us. Democracy is under attack, minority rights are being violated, and the world is becoming increasingly interconnected. Games are a powerful medium for addressing these issues, and they have the potential to inspire change. I guess it's part of a Games for Democracy booth that is also part of a German federal agency for civic education. So, I mean, all this is like top down from the government in some form, which is far different than ours.
It's very funny. I pulled up the IGN. Sorry to call out the IGN writers on this one. The Darkest Files trailer segment has this description. I was like, is that right? And it turns out it's not right. The process entry files and documents is trying to defend democracy in post-war Germany. That part of it is actually a different game that was shown during that exact same segment. The Darkest Files was the courtroom one. And then the what my brain came up with was Papers, Please alike.
Yep.
Was a different game shown in the exact same segment.
It was
but
all while he was
later.
talking, right?
Yes.
So it was one after another. There was cool looking adventure games. What was the middle one? The adventure game.
Yeah, there was a hold on.
Wow, we're doing our own crime scene reconstruction of the Games for
I'm
Change.
looking back. Hold on, I'm listening to what she's saying.
Game announcement.
Glass Houses, I think is what it's called. It's a story rich. Hold on. Listening.
Kato was listening.
Getting updates.
Kato was typing.
Glass House. There's a collective, a game collective from Italy making Glass House, which is the CRPG alike.
Feudal
look alike
from Steam. Feudal punk turn-based CRPG set in a lockdown apartment block at the dawn of a world war.
Yeah. That one looks
Investigate
interesting.
the mysterious triple murder next door. Ooh, it's a gentleman in Moscow, but with the combat.
Darkest Files is the one that had the actual longer trailer bit in right before there, and then the last one. Hold on, listening to the video.
Rob, are you on the Steam page?
Conversation Not Guaranteed was the one that is the Papers, Please. Documents at the border.
We got to make
situation.
Snakes show their papers.
Yeah.
But
are you on this page for Glass House? Are you on the page for Glass House? Can you scroll down to recent news and announcements and click on Dev Blog number 11, where they walk through what the combat in this game is?
Hang on. Recent. There we go. Dev Blog 11. Yeah.
Just keep scrolling. You'll see it. Look at the turn-based combat.
Okay. Well, hang on. It looks like I also enjoy this what looks like a skill tree for ideologies. You're gonna put
the
points
political compass. Forget dexterity, strength, and agility. In Glasshouse, the character progression system is made of 5 ideologies that define language, attitude, and physical inclination.
Sure.
Feud criticism, reasonableness, and meditation. Holisticism, sensitivity and progressivism. Anarchism, subversion, and citizen rights culture. Confused criticism, negotiation of liberal spirit. Colonialism, aggressiveness, and conservative force. Incredible. Those are your skill tree points.
Well, and then it looks like people are getting into punch each other out combat,
fist fights,
but playing
turn-based fist
subvert,
fight combat.
persuade. So we're doing ideological insult sword fighting from Monkey Island, but just dead serious.
It reminds me, I gotta go back one of these days to play Griftlands.
Yeah, this is but these all kind of look neat. I do think Darkest Files look like the most my thing. It being out, I just need to fucking play it.
Yeah, that's so funny. I didn't catch. I just you assume at these things that these are not quite out yet, or they're being announced because and it's just like, nah, here's the little thing, and probably the reason they can they quote unquote justified it being so quick was just like, it's it's already out, so it's like not as exciting.
Well, it's a marketing spend, right? Like
right.
oftentimes it's just like,
but
the
this
game's
one was
out.
like with that segment too, right? Like the Gamescom Cares segment.
Well, I think that is much like the we were all tricked into thinking there was a Control 2 teaser in
my god.
Jesus Christ.
Okay, Patty, you have been on record multiple times that Control isn't that popular. It was very large for us, but didn't do big numbers for Remedy.
Did okay numbers. It was profitable, but it's.
And you can tell me that, all right, like sure, I'll believe you. You're more tuned to these things than I. But you can't tell me that Gamescom didn't know exactly what they were doing with a promo for other Gamescom events.
Yes.
That was disguised.
Yes.
As a Controlverse like sequel. Chapter 2.
Chapter 2.
Triangle. White white triangle, black field.
Yeah.
Concrete structures and
100%
hallways.
I'm with you.
I couldn't believe it because it was like something's off. It's not quite Remedy enough.
It didn't feel goofy.
Or it's just like something about the imagery was too clean in a way that I feel like Remedy tends to zhuzh up stuff even when they're using filmic stuff. It's like, oh, but it's gotta look like film. Like this was didn't have that look, and I was like, what's happening?
Yeah.
It was so good. I mean, we may not have gotten Control 2, but we did get Routine. We didn't mean to summon Circle Routine back into
Routine has returned.